Nobody is perfect, but you are perfectly yourself. No one can do you better than you. And once you believe in that, and once you understand that you are perfect the way, like you're perfect the way you are, then this inner spark comes up inside of you, and that's when you're ready to take the next step and see the light at the end of the tunnel, as they say.
Hello, I'm your host, Evelyn Clark, and this is the 6-Star Business Podcast, where we have conversations with amazing, incredible people all about what it takes to be 6-star, going beyond the status quo, doing things differently, and how they bring purpose, love, and impact into their businesses every day. And in today's episode, my co-host is Corey Serbest, and we met with the delightful Shanice Green from the UK. What makes Shanice special is her lifelong debilitating physical ailments that have stopped her living a normal life, have seen her in hospital for multiple surgeries and operations throughout her life, and she's in a wheelchair. And yet she has had this journey that's given her a sense of purpose and has propelled her into her life path of work. It is a beautiful story. It highlights how important it is for us to be true to ourselves, to never give up, and always believe in ourselves. I invite you to sit back and enjoy this episode with Shanice Green. Well, here we are. It is another episode of 6-Star Business, and I'm here with my co-host, Corey Serbest. How are you doing, Corey?
I'm wonderful. Thanks for having me back.
You're welcome. Good to see you. And our guest is the lovely Shanice Green. How are you, Shanice?
I'm very good, thank you.
Good. It's so nice to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Well, let's get to know you better. I like to ask our guests a few questions, just very simple ones. So can you tell us where you are in the world and who do you serve and how do you serve them?
I am in the UK, just outside of London. I am a transformational and empowerment life coach and also a disability advocate. So basically I help people to be able to believe in themselves, that they are enough, whether you have a disability or not, that we are all worthy and we all deserve happiness.
Wow, that's huge. I mean, that just covers everybody, really. But do you, in terms of, I think, who needs that, your services, but who do you specifically focus on a certain group of people to serve?
Normally, I mainly work with females. Mm-hmm. It's more about, they're working through their mindset and knowing that we have the power within us to be able to live our life. We're only on this earth once, whether you believe in reincarnation or not, but you're only in this vessel that you're living in now once. So we should be able to live our life the way we should be able to live our life, without overthinking and not thinking that we're worthy.
Nice. Well, we're gonna unpack that some more. Can you tell us what's something you like to do when you're not busy serving people in this way?
Apart from being a mum, I'm a mum. I'm a single mum, so yeah, it's busy, but I love it. I absolutely love it. They're my miracle babies, and I'm so grateful every single day.
That's lovely. So how many children do you have?
I have 2.
Okay, sweet. Well done. From one single mum to another, good on you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, I would love to learn a bit more about your journey. Like what can you share with us the journey that's brought you to where you are today to be doing the work that you're doing?
Well, that is huge, actually, because
it's okay.
Everyone's journey, of course, starts off from birth, but my story actually started from birth. So my mum had complications with her labour, and then I was in special care for 6 days. And then at the age of 6 months old, I was diagnosed with a bowel condition. And apart from that, let's just say everything was going straight forward. I was my mum's first child, so she didn't know the signs to look out for. And it's very confusing how it all worked, because I was already under specialists for my bowels. No one picked up on it. When I was 6, I went in for a thing called a washout, where basically they put a tube up your nose, down your throat, and into your stomach to clear you all out. Basically, it was lovely. And on the day that I was supposed to go home, the medical staff asked why my head was over to one side, and basically my mum said, I've just put it down to shyness. I was 6, so I was already at school. There was no teacher that ever asked. I was already under the specialist for my bowels. No one asked. And basically, I think it was a nurse said, well, can I lift up the back of her top to have a look at her back? Mum said, yeah, that's fine. And then they noticed the curvature. And then it all spiraled from there, basically. I was always a clumsy child, my mum said. I would fall over thin air. And I was always had cuts and bruises on me, and, but I just lived my life. And basically, when I was 6, when it started spiraling and they found this curvature, I was referred to the most amazing children's hospital in the UK, called Great Ormond Street Hospital. Just say it's amazing. Loads of children go there from all around the world. And then I was diagnosed with 3 spinal and brain conditions. And my first surgery on the base of my brain was when I was 7. And that completely changed my life. From the age of 7 till 10, I had 11 surgeries on my brain and spinal cord. And when I was 10, I went in for, well, basically what happened was we went on, I think they call them like summer breaks. We call them half terms over here. And basically went on a little vacation, or a holiday, what we would call it over here, and came home. And just before I went on holiday, I went for a MRI scan. Just a normal one, a simple one, the one that was, meant to happen every 6 months anyway. Came home on the Friday, I believe, and there was a message on the answer machine to basically say that Shanice had to go into hospital on the Tuesday for another surgery. This surgery was the same surgery that I had when I was 7 on my brain. And I went back to school on the Monday and then went into hospital on the Tuesday. And from then, my life just completely changed. I was going in and out of hospital from the age of 6 to 10 every 6 to 8 months for surgery. This was different. I went in for 1 surgery and I had 4 surgeries in the space of 6 days. I ended up with blood clot. Thankfully, touch wood, that they got it all out. But I was paralyzed from the neck down for a while. I'm not paralyzed now, which is absolutely amazing, but I am in a wheelchair. And I was in hospital for roughly around 5 months. And I also went to a rehabilitation hospital as well to teach me all these things about, standing and, learning how to do everything myself again. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't feed myself. I couldn't hold a pen. I couldn't really do anything. And I had to learn how to sit up again. And I remember when I first sat up on my own, my mum cried, because it was just, something that she didn't think that I would be able to do again. And that just changed my life. That just completely changed my life and my perspective on life. You know, when I was younger, I always wanted to be a nurse. Always knew that I wanted to help people. But then when I ended up in a wheelchair, I was like, okay, this isn't going to happen, clearly. Let's go down the doctor's route. Maybe let's try that. But then these conditions that I have put me in pain 24/7, which means that the way that I looked at it was I have days off of school. I was at school then, so I was having days off school due to pain. And I had muscle spasms as well. I did amazing. I did really good at school. You know, everything school-wise was fine, but it was my pain levels that held me back. I went through school absolutely fine academically, but physically it took a really big toll on my body. I did learn to walk in a frame when I was about 14, 15 for around 2 to 3 years. It didn't stay that way. I'm now back in a wheelchair. And the only thing I can honestly say I regretted from then is that I didn't learn wheelchair skills. Okay. In my head, I was going to walk again, and that was just it. That was what was going to happen. Looking back now, I probably should have done that because I don't know how to, you know, go up curbs, etc., etc. But I do believe that it was meant for me. It was meant for me because now it put a rocket up my backside. Let's just put it that way, you know. And I remember my granddad said to me once, you know, because I said, why me? And he said, God only gives it to the people that can handle it. And that just kept me going. That just kept me going. When I was roughly when I was 18, I had my first child. And that took a big, huge toll on my body, like huge toll. So yes, I was back in a wheelchair, very weak, etc., etc. And when I was roughly around 19, I went in to speak to the neurosurgeon, and he basically said, there's only one more surgery that they can physically do for me. And it was then when I was just like, I need to do something. I need to do something. Like, I have a child, and my goal then was just like, right, okay, I need to make sure that financially she's stable. She has something when I leave this earth, because I know that these conditions could end my life tomorrow. And as much as it was hard for everyone else around me and my family, like listening to that, I didn't cry. It just put the rocket up my backside that I needed. You know, when I was 18, I lost my granddad. So, and he was my absolute hero. So if I can lose my granddad and I can, you know, go through that pain, nothing else is going to match it. That was just how I felt. And then when I was 20, I had my son. So my eldest is my little girl, and then I have a son as well. So I'm very, very blessed with both of them. I remember my mum saying to me, I never thought that you would ever have children. I thought you would be living with me forever, and I would look after you forever. You know, I didn't think you'd actually fly the nest, basically, as they say. And yeah, when my son was born, it was a very hard pregnancy, completely different to my daughter's. I was very, very weak, very, very weak. And my mum thought she was going to end up losing me. I'm still here, so it's good. It's all fine. And And then when I had a few other surgeries in between that. So I think we're up to number 19 now. Kind of lost count. I had my last one just over a month ago. My hair is finally starting to grow back in the place where it was. But also I went through mental and emotional abuse from my children's dad as well during that time. I'm thankfully out of it over a year now, so that's just amazing, and I'm so blessed. But do you know what? I'd honestly say every single day I am grateful for my past, because my past has shaped me who I am today, you know. And yes, it's hard, and yes, it's difficult being in pain 24/7 and having mornings where I can't lift my head off the pillow properly, or I don't know how the day's going to be. Like this morning was absolutely terrible. Like you wouldn't even know that right now. But I'm grateful, and I feel that gratitude and my mindset has got me through it. So how I got to where I am now with my coaching, roughly I think it was about 3 years ago now. I was on a call with a Spinal Cord Injury Association. He was just ringing out to find out how I am, about my story, etc., etc. And he said to me, "Have you ever thought about becoming a life coach?" And I said, "Absolutely not." He was like, "Have you ever thought about writing a book?" I said, "No, no, no, no. Why would I want to do that?" I said, "Why would anyone want to hear my story? It's just my story. It's just my life." And it was then, after I got off the phone, I was just like, it doesn't make sense. It really doesn't make any sense to me. Like looking back at it now, I used to have at least 3 to 4 messages a week asking me how I get through this, and for me to help them to get through it. But I didn't realize that's basically what a coach did, you know. And when I first started coaching, I remember the first person I coached, and I think that was the time that I realized this is what I want to do. This lady refused to go out because she ended up in a wheelchair. She didn't use it all the time, but she couldn't walk far. And she refused to go out for a year because she was embarrassed. And within 4 weeks of working with me, she sent me a picture that she was out with her husband, out with her kids in her wheelchair. And I was just like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is what I'm supposed to do. And I am so grateful that I decided to take the leap of faith, because I kept on ignoring it. Like, posts would pop up on social media, become a coach. I'm like, no, just go away. I don't want to do it. Leave me alone. And then within 6 months, I was just like, okay, let's just do it. Let's just go for it. Because I love studying anyway. And I knew that I couldn't go to a typical normal 9-to-5 job, because I'm in pain 24/7, and an employer's not going to say, "Oh, Shanice, you can have a week off, or you can have, a month off," or, do you know what I mean? So I knew that I had to work from home, but I didn't know what it was. And now I feel like I've kind of like found my calling in life. So yeah, that's me.
Wow. You're amazing, Shanice. I just want to say that, just call it out, say it straight out. I listened to that and I was just like, wow, your strength and determination is huge. Huge. Wow. And you've got for those that are listening to the audio.
I'm not very good at making compliments, but I'm getting.
So I'll tone it down a bit then. Okay. For those that are listening to audio, Shanice has just got this beautiful smile and she radiates just joy. You wouldn't know there's anything different about it. Like, and certainly can't tell that you're in pain 24/7.
think it's just about mindset, isn't it? And that's what gets me through my day, because I can't go on any medication. Basically, they tried to put me on medication a couple of years ago now, and it completely messed up my system. And any medication that I do have makes my conditions worse. So it was either go on medication and make my conditions feel worse and not be able to function properly because I'm a mum and I have to do things, or have no medication and just find a way to be able to just push through it. But I do believe, because I had it from such a young age, and yes, my pain has got a lot worse since then, I feel it's helped me because I don't know my life without pain. So that's why I feel for people that end up with chronic health and end up in pain after years of being absolutely fine, because it must hit them a lot harder than what it does me. Yeah.
Have you literally arranged yourself with your pains?
Sorry, say that
in
again.
a way? Have you arranged yourself with your pains, with the 24/7 pain you're feeling?
Yeah, I just think being in pain 24/7 is difficult, but when you know nothing else, it's normal. It's normal to me. It's normal to me to get possibly 1 to 2 hours sleep at night because I'm in pain. That's my norm. And then when I end up having maybe 4 to 5 hours sleep, I wake up in absolute agony, and I'm like, Shanice, why did you allow yourself to sleep? But no, it's just my life, and all you can do is live your life to the fullest. I don't go out much. I stay indoors most of the time because I know if I go out, the next few days I will be suffering even more. So it's finding what works for you. And I have an amazing support system. My mum brings the kids to school every day and picks them up every day. So I'm just grateful. I am. And it gives me time to be able to, maybe 2 to 3 hours in the morning, once the kids go to school, to be able to get to where I am now and be able to function. I get up in the morning with the kids, and then once they go, I can then just sit there and just think, okay, how are we going to put our rocket back up our backside and get stuff done?
Yeah. There's so much in what I'm hearing. Like, I don't know about you, Corey, but like I'm hearing you speak about your life and how you're living with this, and just the way that you approach things and your mindset. There's just a lot for me to learn from. I think I'm actually really inspired by listening to you, Shanice.
Thank you.
I mean, when people listen to what you have been facing since your childhood, 19 surgeries, and actually nothing got better, kind of, right? And people looking at you, to your story, and saying, okay, where's her quality of life? Literally, for a normal individual, there is no quality of life. Somebody being in a wheelchair, facing 24/7 pain, trying to arrange yourself. Luckily, you found your calling in becoming a transformational empowerment coach. That's indeed very inspiring. I mean, there are people who have probably a migraine once a while, yeah, and for them life is over already, yeah, and you have all these challenges in life, and as you said, it's an event, yeah, and you make it literally a good event or a bad event based on the mindset, based on how you take things, yeah, and yeah, it's amazing. And that's inspiring, and probably also the reason why people have asked you, have you ever thought about writing a book?
I have, and I've started writing it probably about 6 times in the last 5 years, and it ain't gone nowhere. Just not for me. But I just want to catch up on something that you just said about, people with migraines, and they think their world's over for, like, if they have a migraine for a week. But you also need to remember that when you don't have the pain and then you have the pain, it's like having an earache. If you give me earache or a toothache, I want to cry. Like, I'm not used to that pain, so if I have it and it's just not good at all, I feel like a complete baby. But if you don't have it and then you have it, it feels a lot worse. Maybe it's not as bad as mine. It's probably nowhere near as bad as mine. But when you're not used to it and then you do have something, it affects you in a lot of ways, not just physically, but mentally. When how you're feeling internally affects you externally. And I truly do believe that. My mum said to me, I think it was about a couple of years ago, she's like, I've got a really, really bad headache. She had a headache for about 3 days. And she was like, I'm really sorry for complaining. I was like, why are you sorry? She's like, because you're in pain 24/7. I was like, yeah, but you're not used to it. So when you're not used to it and then you have it, it's a lot worse. You give me earache and I don't have earache. So when I have earache, I'm just, no, don't do that. I don't like earache. I don't like toothache. It's when you're not used to something and then something arises, an obstacle gets in your way in life, that's when it affects you. So that's why I feel for everyone who ever has any kind of pain or any obstacle in life. Obstacles arise in anyone's path, whether it's small or big to anyone else. It could be a hurdle, could be a boulder to someone, but it could be something like a little stone to someone else.
So very true. We all have things that happen to us in our lives that we're not used to, and it's when the unknown comes in. It's that unknown that we don't know how to deal with it, and that's what makes it difficult. Pain literally or figuratively. That's the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Totally.
Shanice, I got a question. We men, in many ways, are much weaker than women in general. And where is this strength coming from to live every day and be grateful for every new day despite of the pain? Is it the result of having been a mom in your early years and that keeps you up and picking up your daily challenges and battles, or is it something else, a kind of a mindset transformation where having kids was just one part, but there are other parts which play into that as well?
From a young age, it was my granddad. My granddad was in pain 24/7. He had full-blown sickle cell disease. And he would smile every day and he would get along. And he used to walk around with his walking stick to the shop every single day and go and get his paper. Whereas he could have just asked my mum to go and get it for him, but no, he wanted to do it himself. And he was a fighter, and I was brought up to fight and to never give up. Like, never, ever give up. My granddad was just the most amazing, amazing man. He was Jamaican, and he didn't give us emotional support, if that makes sense. If we cried, it was like, no. But you knew he was there. And then when I was 18 and I had my first child, and then I lost him roughly about a month and a half after. And I truly believe he waited until she came along, because a couple of years beforehand, my mum said to me, we were driving, and she said to me, can you promise me something? And I said, what's that? She said, when Granddad goes, don't leave me. And I said, I can't promise you that. So I truly do believe he waited. When he went, I crumbled to the point I couldn't even hold my own child for a day. I just couldn't. And what kept me going was my child. I had my baby, so I had to carry on. I had to carry on. And the thought of my granddad being disappointed in me was just enough to just push me along. Like, no, I couldn't have my granddad be disappointed in me. When I found out I was pregnant, I called him straight away. I was like, "Granddad, I'm pregnant. Is that okay?" And he's like, "What do you mean? Is that okay? Like, it's there now. Like, there's nothing you can do about it." But the thought of my granddad being disappointed in me carried me on. And my granddad brought my mum up as a single parent, so my mum had that instilled in her as well for us to fight. And we just carry on. We just carry on and just fight. And then when I think it was probably about 5 to 6 years ago, I learned about personal development. And I didn't realize I was already doing it, and I just instilled it more and started journaling. And, when you realize that, I remember when someone said to me, I was talking about gratitude, and they said, "Yeah, well, I'm grateful all the time." And I said, "There's a difference between saying I'm grateful and saying thank you. I have manners and I say please and thank you. But the feeling of saying I'm grateful is a completely different feeling inside of you. I truly believe that if you look around you, if there's negative stuff, I'm trying not to swear. When there's negative stuff around you, if you stop and think, even if it's just for 5 minutes, at least 5 things you can find that you're grateful for. At least. And I teach that to my clients all the time. And then I get them to the stage when they've worked with me for 6 months to write down 100 things they're grateful for. And they're like, "Shanice, how can you? I can't do that." But once you start, you find even more things to be grateful for. And it's just amazing. Like, I love gratitude. My kids do it every day. My kids say 3 things they're grateful for. They say 3 affirmations. And it's just completely changed my life. Completely.
Yeah, there's so much there. I want to ask you a question about inspiration. Actually, the people that have inspired you. You've talked a lot about your granddad. Would you say he is one of the core kind of mentors or people that have inspired you, or have there also been others on the journey?
Definitely. My granddad and my mum and just my family, my support system, completely just pushed me along. And yeah, they're my inspirations. Definitely. I wouldn't say, people say, celebrities, inspire them. Celebrities don't, and my support system. So, yeah.
Nice. How important is it for people, especially like in business, but in life, for us to be the best versions of ourselves and to be 6-star and being, if we assume that 6-star means being the best versions of ourselves in our businesses, in order for us to get there, how important is it to have the right support network? You've talked about your support system.
I think it's really important. I do. And this is why I try to say to my clients, even if you haven't got a support system, I will be your biggest cheerleader. I will push them along, and I will try my hardest to make them realize that they're not alone. Because, life in general can be hard. It can be hard and it can be difficult. And if you don't have a support system around you, it can make your journey a lot harder. I truly, truly do believe that. Definitely.
Yeah. So when I say 6-star, what does that mean to you? What comes to you when I ask that question? Like, what does 6-star mean to you?
I think if I just looking at the name, okay, and I didn't know anything about it, to me, it just means hope, and looking forward in your path, and seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. I imagine, because I'm very spiritual as well, and I connect a lot to higher powers as well as and I can see like just shining star just in front of me. It's just amazing. It's just even just the name is just amazing to me anyway.
That's really lovely. Thank you. Do you connect with other coaches and other transformation leaders to connect and talk? Do you have that kind of network, or are you just going along on your own?
I have worked with other coaches beforehand, but I seem to just go on my own and just see what I feel called to do, because I do things a little bit differently, because there's not many coaches out there that I have found that are in the situation that I'm in, with chronic pain, because they advise you to, structure it. And I'm not a structured kind of person. I just go with the flow. Today I basically decided this morning, okay, I want to design a journal. So that's what I did. Was I planned on doing that? Yes, they know I wasn't. My plan today was completely different, and it didn't work out, and I didn't do that, but it's okay. You just live your life the way you want to live your life. I don't like structure. I like routine with my children, but with myself, I allow myself to listen to my body and go with the flow and just live life to the best that I possibly can. Does that make sense?
Yeah. What's really interesting is some of the previous guests we've had on the show have talked about the need to be in flow, and to be your best and to be 6-star. You've got to be in tune with who you are, and that means not being rigid and being set to a particular schedule, or maybe it's a certain way of doing things or what other people are doing. In other words, just following what's in your heart and your soul and that is right for you. In other words, doing things different. And so everything that you've just described really resonates with a lot of the messages and the beliefs and the conversations that I've been having with people from all over the world. In fact, the next question I was going to ask you is, how are you different to others? And you've just answered that. And what I love is that you are living your life in your way. And I truly believe that is the way forward for business owners, especially, to really tap into who they are, and then find out what their own magic is and their own genius, and what their own rhythms are. And, you're a prime example of that. I love it.
Thank you. It took me a while to get to this stage. Before, I would have ended up being ill and stressing myself up because I wasn't doing it the right way that everyone else was doing it. I thought I had to do it that way. And it was only maybe this year. No, you know, I want to live my life the way I want to live my life. And my journey might not be the same as anyone else's, but I'm not the same as them. And we're all individual and we're all amazing. We all deserve to live our life the way we want to live our lives.
Exactly. What kind of feedback do you get from your clients? Because you are different, and like you said, you're one of a kind. Do they recognize your uniqueness?
Yes, and actually I get very surprised whenever I get feedback. Whenever I get feedback, I'm like, oh, okay. I'm not very good at taking compliments. I remember this client that I'm working with now, I worked with her already a year ago. And she just said to me, oh, I had to come back to you. And I'm like, oh, okay, what's up? She's like, no, but I need you. I need you. Like, I've worked you before. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I don't think I'm that good, but okay, I'll take it, you know. But I didn't believe in myself at all. But clearly, I am on the right path and I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing on this earth. And yeah, it's just, I love what I do. And clearly, it is shown, and my clients can see that too. And, you know, I want to be the biggest cheerleader. I do want to be the biggest cheerleader.
When did you shift your mindset from not being self-confident enough that you can do something, serve others, up to the point where you said, okay, I tapped into my potential, I have unleashed my genius? Did that happen with the feedbacks of your clients, or in addition to that, with, I don't know, what your kids are giving you, the way how your mom sees you today, a combination of all?
I definitely believe it's a combination. My mum's been telling me for years, you know, you're amazing. And I'm like, please be quiet. No, I'm not. Absolutely not. You know. But it was my clients that came to me and was like, the feedback, like the testimonials. I'm like, Shanice, when are you actually going to believe in yourself? When are you going to believe in yourself? You either carry on the way you want to carry on and the way that you're living your life now, or change your life. You're changing other people's lives, so you deserve to change your life too. And yeah, I love it. I love it.
I love that you love it. You've just got, when you speak like about it, your face lights up. What do you think is the key for people to be like, okay, no, different question. Because you talk about, you know that this is what you're meant to do. Do you think someone can be 6-star in their business without having that inner joy and that alignment and that knowing of this is what I am here to do? Can someone still be 6-star?
Oh, that's a question. That is a question. And okay, I'm very straight to the point, and I'm very, very straight to the point, and that's why my clients work with me, because I put, I put rockets at the backsides, and whether you like it or not, this is what we're gonna do, you know. But without the self-belief, you can get so far. You can definitely get so far. But if you want to take the next step and you want to get closer to your end result, then something's going to have to switch in your mindset to be able to get you to where you want to get to. And I do believe that. I do.
Is that mindset, or is it also the emotional internal knowing?
Definitely. I think mindset and internal knowing kind of, it goes between the both, you know. It's like head and heart harmony. They both have to agree to be able to. And like I say to my clients all the time, if they both don't agree, when people say, oh, you know, you go with your head or you go with your heart, you need to go with both. When they're both agreeing, that's when the magic happens, and that's when we can step forward and we can make bigger results. Because if not, you're going to blame and go, oh, you know, no, I went with my head and I shouldn't have, if it goes wrong. But if they're both in harmony and they're both agreeing, who have you got to blame? You haven't got anyone to blame. It just didn't work out. Okay, let's go next. Let's carry on. Let's move. But what I also do want to say, and I say this a lot, I feel like actually I say this on most of my videos and lives, but nobody is perfect, but you are perfectly yourself. No one can do you better than you. And once you believe in that, and once you understand that you are perfect the way, like you're perfect the way you are, then this inner spark comes up inside of you. And that's when you're ready to take the next step and see the light at the end of the tunnel, as they say.
I love that so much. You just mentioned doing lives and videos. So you obviously use social media. And as a transformational coach and someone who is helping people to be their best selves and believe in themselves and find self-love, how do you use social media in a way that doesn't harm that self-love? Because social media is a trap. It's a big sucking vortex of energy that people just get addicted to it. And then, we know from all the research how damaging it is for our self-esteem to be watching and following people and all that. But you obviously use it, and you're obviously doing it your way. Talk to me a little bit about how you're doing that and what social media is to you.
I totally agree with you. And there is a lot of negativity out there. And it's about being, how do I put this? It's about being forceful and saying to yourself, do you know what? I'm going to have to block out the negativity. I can't be going on the scroll hole, when people are just scrolling and scrolling, that's the only time I can honestly say I have to have structure. Because I used to be that type of person. I used to go through and look at things, waste my time and suck in other people's energy, and it's not good. It's not. That's why I don't watch the news. That's why I don't watch the news, because it's negative, and we have enough that will happen in our own life. We don't need any more negativity and no more crap, basically. But yeah, it's about using it to your advantage, and because I can't go out and spread my message as much, I need to find a different way. So using social media, it works for me. It doesn't work for everyone, but that's why no one's path is the same, because we all need to just live our life the way we want to live our life and not compare yourself.
I think that's really, really important, not comparing yourself and your journey.
So true.
Shanice, when you look back to your clients whom you have helped over the years, and as you said, you don't have a script, yeah, like other coaches, and you literally you tune into your clients and you go with the flow. So literally you're following your gut feeling. If you just review all these clients, what would you say? What type of common denominator do all of your clients have? Because at the end of the day, there's always a root cause for why people do certain things or why they don't do certain things. So is there something you have grasped on what the root cause is for most of your clients? Is it always coming back to one particular thing, fear or whatever?
It's about, I would honestly say, limiting beliefs and believing in themselves. And maybe they do have a support system around them, but they don't ask for help, and I will cheer them on, and I will I will call them out if I believe what they isn't to be true, and our calls that we have are very much go with you don't know how you're going to feel one day. I've worked with quite a few coaches before in the past, and they all have structure. This week we're going to work on this. This week we're going to work on this. But unless we go with how you're feeling that day, then you're going to keep on going back to let's say confidence. Okay, we're going to work on confidence this week, and then we're going to work on something else the next week. But we haven't solved the confidence. We've just masked it for a few weeks. It's going to come back, and that's why my clients like to work with me, because we just go with the flow. And I will, even if we've gone over something, I don't know, 4 or 5 weeks, the same thing, that's what they need. That is what they need. And my job is to give them what they need, is to help them in the areas that they need me to help them in. That's my job. That's what I believe.
Yeah, I love the way you've expressed that and described the need to tune in and do things. You're doing things differently. You're doing things very authentically because you're tuning into the needs of your customers in the moment, in their moment of need, rather than just doing a cookie cutter solution. Here's a structured program, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, which doesn't serve anybody, and that's not 6-star. And I love the way that you're operating, Shanice. To me, it's just so authentic and beautiful and human, and you're a shining star. We're coming to the end. We've kind of gone over our desired time, but I just wanted to close out by asking you if there's, first of all, Corey, did you have final comments or questions for Shanice?
No, I'm just inspired by her with her gorgeous smile and knowing the history of you facing kind of it's actually a big drama, right? You're a health drama, and despite of that, having 2 wonderful kids, living every day to make it a miracle for everybody around you and for yourself is simply amazing. Thanks for being here and sharing the story with us.
Thank you. Don't make me cry. You're going to make me cry.
He's a sweetie, isn't he? in parting, Shanice, are there any words or of wisdom, advice, or tidbits or practical kind of takeaways you'd like to leave our listeners with?
Firstly, like I said previously, that nobody's perfect, but you are perfectly yourself. And secondly, I want to say that, no, actually, I'm going to change this up. Whatever's happened throughout your day, and I would say this, and maybe you can try this, as put an alarm on your phone 3 times a day. And whenever that alarm goes off, I want you to stop and think of 5 things you're grateful for, or notice all your 5 senses, and just notice and bring yourself back to the present, because I feel like that's really, really important, to bring yourself back to the present.
That's gold. I love it. Are you going to do that, Corey? Are you going to set an alarm on your phone?
Well, normally in the past I would do it, but nowadays I'm a much more conscious person, so
Okay.
I don't
So
need
you're
it
doing this
anymore.
already. So you're already
I'm
doing
doing
it.
it. Yeah.
Okay,
I'm doing
good.
it.
Good on you. Thank you. Shanice, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the
Yes.
show. Thank you for everything that you're doing, the light that you're shining on the world, and yourself, bringing yourself to like this podcast and others, and the way that you're helping people. I'm so grateful for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.